Happy Saturday, Buzz City. We are taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight for Game 3 of our 4-game homestand. A new-look Cavaliers team, if you will. I'm Eryn Pittsonberger. That's Matt Rochinski. And this is the HornetsFanshop.com pregame show. First things first, we have a game day special. Matt, what do you have for us?
If you spend over $40 right now on HornetsFanshop.com, you will receive 20% off, but you need to use the code BALL20, BALL20. Again, we talked about it last time. Holidays are getting closer. Every show, we're getting closer and closer. Make sure you get those gifts, get them sent out, get a chance to save 20% off on orders of $40 or more right now. Great deal.
Yeah, Halloween's over. I'm already getting Christmas commercials. I'm already hearing some Christmas music and everything. We're going to completely skip over Thanksgiving, apparently.
No, quick, settle the debate for me. Can I start? I got to start taking down Halloween decorations probably tomorrow. Sunday, it's a nice off day. We can do this.
Yep.
Is it too early to start putting up my Christmas blow-up?
No.
No?
No, it is not.
Jace is shaking his head yes behind us, and he lives in my neighborhood because he doesn't want to see it. I have a problem, folks. There's no doubt about it. At some point in time, we'll get a picture of my house up on the HornetsFanshop.com pregame show, just so you guys can see how much we get into the holiday spirit over in the Rochinski household. We have completely gone off on a tangent. I'm going to throw it back to Eryn.
I enjoy it. I really like it. We'll start getting into the holiday spirit. I'm excited to hear some holiday music already. But moving along, we took on the Oklahoma City Thunder on Thursday. Didn't have the outcome that we would have liked. We were at one point up by 19 points. Managed to kind of give that away. Matt, what did you see from that game?
I'll tell you what I loved to see was how the second half started.
Yes.
To see Kemba Walker going off the way Kemba Walker can go off, to see the team playing great offensive basketball, getting up and down the court, hitting shots. It looked great. We build that lead, and everybody's hyped, and everybody's ready to go. We're going to get this next win here at home. Everything's looking good. And then the wheels kind of fell off. So they fell off because of the fact that Coach JB pointed out after the game, you can't have multiple turnovers in succession in an NBA basketball game. Coach said it best. This is an NBA team. Folks, don't get me wrong. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's the Hornets. It doesn't matter if it's the Thunder or the Bulls or the Warriors. Teams are going to make runs in this league. Every team is going to have that game where they're like, wow, we scored like 16 in a row in some game during the season. It happened against us, and it happened against one of the best in the NBA, and Russell Westbrook. That guy is tough to defend, and they had some guys come off the bench that had great performances and just kind of took it to us there once we got the lead, and we kind of got stumbled and we were back on our heels and continued to fight and made it a good game, but just couldn't pull it through.
Now we did see, Kemba was kind of getting face guarded, double teamed like crazy on Thursday against the Thunder. Now when these things happen, what does the team have to do around him in order to kind of eliminate the fact that, Kemba, they're just completely stopping Kemba.
Right, because you're going to continue to see that throughout the season. People are going to continue to double team Kemba once they start realizing, okay, we've got to stop this guy and we'll let everyone else beat us. That's a testament to Kemba Walker, that's how teams look at us now. Let anyone else beat us besides Kemba. But the thing is, we've got guys who can beat you. You need to be hitting your shots. We saw when they made their run, the Thunder made their run, not only did we turn the ball over a few times, had good looks, had some open looks, not hitting the shots. You can't go cold at the same time they're pressuring your all-star and nobody else can score. That's a big problem. You also have to do some things to creatively free up Kemba. Maybe you run him off a double or a triple screen. You see these things that the Warriors do when Steph Curry plays. We might start seeing more of that kind of instituted in this Hornets game plan to see how we can find other ways to free up Kemba Walker.
Now we caught up with head coach James Borrego after yesterday's practice. Let's take a look to hear what he had to say about that game.
All right, Coach, first day back after yesterday's loss. What did you guys kind of focus on today in practice?
We watched some film, cleaned up some areas there in the third and fourth quarter. Built a nice 19-point lead. Our guys were great up to that point. They kept battling. We made some mistakes down the stretch in the third quarter. The effort was there. The execution got to get better. But our guys are in good spirits. They feel good. We're in a good place. We just got to close out that game.
Anything in particular you saw when you watched video of what you need them to do to counteract what teams are doing to Kemba with blitzes and all?
Yeah, we got to get better at it. I mean, we were good last night. There's some areas we got to get better at. It's just really about moving the ball and proper spacing. You can't take away everything. You put two guys on the ball up, past the three-point line, someone's open. You can't guard everything. So it's making teams pay for it. And we did last night. We had some good stuff. We just got to do it more consistently. from the start to the finish. And partly that's on Kemba, partly that's on everybody else to get in proper spacing, be aggressive when they get the ball, go attack.
How long do you think Marvin's done this season?
Marv's a pro. He's working every day. He's in the gym, brings great presence to our locker room. He's working at it. I know the numbers shooting the ball right now aren't great, but he's working through it. I don't worry about Marvin. I think he'll get to where we need him to be. He's a valuable piece of what we're trying to do. He's our starting four-man, and he'll stay our starting four-man.
Is it fair to say that you can live with a shooting slump if you're seeing the other things?
Yeah, yes. He can guard for us, he rebounds, he runs the floor, gives us spacing. Even though his numbers aren't up there, the reason why we've been so successful offensively is we have space out there, and Marvin provides a space. If people want to leave Marvin, he'll be shooting wide open threes. If people want to play the percentages, they can do that, but I'm trusting Marvin will make those shots more than he won't.
You guys are now 7th in the league in net rating. So obviously a lot of good things
A lot of good things, yeah.
What do you think needs to happen to translate that sort of 48-minute efficiency into getting better at closing out tight games?
Well, I don't even want to get into the closing games yet. We had a 19-point lead, and in the Miami game, same thing. They cut it to about 10-11, and we didn't let it get to a close game. So before it even became a close game last night, we should have shut that thing off, and when it got to 10-11, build it back up to 15, build it back up to 20. And that had nothing to do with it closing that game. The areas that bothered me was the way we closed the third quarter. I mean, we still had an 8-point lead, a 9-point lead, and we let Abrinas get a wide open three. And that had nothing to do with the end of game. That was really just about executing the game plan. If we had had it at 9, 10, 11 going into the fourth, that's the type of position we got to keep ourselves in, having built a 19-point lead. Now, when that doesn't happen, we get to a close game in the fourth quarter. You know, we got to be perfect. We got to get a stop, got to get a rebound, we got to make a shot, not turn it over, and those are things that we're working through in the fourth quarter. But that game last night wasn't lost in the final 2 minutes. That game was lost in the third quarter for the most part when we had a 19-point lead and we let them cut it to, 4 points by the end of the fourth quarter or the end of the third quarter.
Is your pace right now where you want it to be? Some of you guys are having a few shot clock violations, which, preseason you guys had to shorten the shot clock. Where are you at right now with the way you guys are playing up down the floor pace-wise?
Well, we had 31 fast break points last night against a very good defense. I think our pace is there. I want to play even faster. Our best offense right now is in transition. There is no loading up on Kemba Walker. There is no loading up on our shooters. I think we got, when we ran last night, we got great looks. 31 points speaks, volumes to that. So, but to do that, we got to get stops. We got to run. We got to have good defense. And I think when we slowed down last night, is we weren't getting stops. We weren't able to run. And there's a tendency sometimes right now, especially end of game in the fourth quarter, when we do get a stop, is stop the momentum, get it back to Kemba, and now let's run a set where we got to keep putting pressure on the defense. And I think we're working through that. This is all new. This is a new system. And I want our guys to continue to play fast with that pace from minute 1 all the way to minute 48.
In your judgment, about how many games should it take for you guys to kind of maybe get to where you should be? Everybody's familiar. Is it 20 games, 40?
I don't know. Every team's different. I mean, I wish I had a magic number for you. There is no magic number. We're just working our way through this. This is a daily process, game by game. When we get there, we get there. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But we're making a lot of progress. We're making a lot of progress right now. We're right there. Our offense is solid. Our defense is getting better. Our net rating is solid. We just got to close out these games. And, we're a work in progress, but we shouldn't even got to a late game last night.
The Hornets G League team, the Greensboro Swarm, had their very first game of the season last night, defeating the Wisconsin Herd 114-98. Now, JP McCura, our two-way player, led all scorers with 27 points, and Devontae Graham, rookie Devontae Graham, finished with a double-double, 16 points and 10 assists. He was just 4 rebounds
Yep.
shy away from a triple-double. Now, what did you see from that game?
That's what you want to see, fans. If you have a player that's on your NBA roster who gets sent down to the G League to get some more seasoning, to get some more playing time, you want to see that guy step up, get down there, and really make an impact. Because honestly, he should be one of the best players on that team down there. He's an NBA player. He should be showcasing what he can do. Devontae came out and did that all over the court, from making buckets to making sure he was setting up his teammates to grabbing rebounds. I mean, geez, 6 rebounds from this guy from the point guard. We'll take that any night. But hopefully that continues tonight. They move on. They're going to play the Capital City Go-Go tonight in Washington. You got to love these G League names. Sometimes I just got to look them up because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But the Capital City Go-Go. Hopefully Devontae and JP, both those guys who we should be keeping an eye on, bounce back again and do the same thing they did last night and bring more success to the Greensboro Swarm. And it's only going to get people in Greensboro excited about getting out to see the Swarm as well.
Now, Devontae Graham is learning from Kemba. He's learning from Tony Parker. Do you think that his progression as a rookie is somewhat expedited, if you will, with these guys that he gets to learn from?
I think it is, and I think the thing that's really going to benefit him when he goes down to a team like Greensboro is because then he's probably going to be looked at to be a leader of that team, because they're going to expect him to have the ball in his hands, to make things happen, to be the guy lighting up the scoreboard. So his teammates are going to look to him as the NBA guy and go, hey, take us where you want us to go. And he's learning from 2 of the best in Kemba and Tony.
I, for one, personally miss Devontae being here in Charlotte. He's always one of my favorite guys to go to, my go-to guy for social media. And so I'm really looking forward to having him back, but I know he's crushing it down there in Greensboro.
There's something about that guy. He just lights up a room, doesn't he? I mean, you just have a conversation with him. I remember watching your What's in the Box stuff with him. Everything that we do with this guy is just, he turns it into being fun. And, man, he played a great Black Panther, too, when he was out there for the Hemby Children's Hospital visit. It was great.
He's got great energy. I'm really looking forward to having him back. I know on social we get a lot of mentions, a lot of comments from Kansas fans who really genuinely miss him. We actually saw the other day that there was a guy who dressed up his baby as Devontae Graham for Halloween.
That's insane.
Yeah, let me see. I'll try to find a picture of it and show it to you guys next time. But it was one of the best pictures I've seen in a really long time. Anyway, we went on another tangent.
That's crazy.
Let's take a look at the highlights from last night's victory over the Wisconsin Herd. This past Thursday was the launch of our third 30th anniversary series. You can look forward to seeing a new installment every Thursday on Hornets30.com and the Hornets app.
Yeah, it's been a great new feature that we're running on Hornets30.com. We want to keep fans going back to that site, kind of looking at things that are all 30th anniversary based. There's moments in history, there's videos, there's everything like that. But this new feature series, I'm excited about this one. I think this is going to be great because it's really going to look back at key points in time in the Charlotte basketball history throughout, from 1988 all the way up until now. So you're going to get Hornets, you're going to get Bobcats, you're going to get all of these things. You're going to get some Sting stuff, as a matter of fact, as well, because that's Charlotte basketball. There's some great things. The guys have been working hard behind the scenes all summer long. We've seen guys come in. We've been to Alexander Julian's place in Chapel Hill. There's all different sorts of things we heard from the commissioner in this most recent one, which was about the start of the Hornets franchise. An absolutely great piece that Kyle has put together with his team over on the video side of things. They're going to continue to pump these things out, and I'm excited to see each one every week, knowing the work that's been put in and the stories that are being told. We hear them around the office every once in a while. After 30 years for a lot of these things, guys are saying a little more, telling us a little more, giving us more insight into what was going on back in the day if you were a Hornets fan or a Bobcats fan or whatever it might be. Make sure you guys are tuning in.
Now, in case you missed it, without further ado, let's take a look at the first 30th anniversary feature.
I'm pleased to announce that the Board of Governors of the National Basketball Association has decided that it will expand the National Basketball Association by 4. The first 2 teams will be Charlotte, North Carolina, and Miami, Florida.
I got a call from this guy. He said, "Hey, I'm George Shinn." I said, "Well, nice to talk to you." He said, "I want to talk to you about the NBA." And I thought he was from another planet.
I remember people thinking it was a joke that Charlotte was trying to get this NBA team, and I think it was one of the other cities that was trying to get the franchise said that the only franchise we'd see in Charlotte are the arches of a McDonald's.
So I asked him to come to my office. He came to my office and he gave me a really good pitch and why Charlotte deserved an NBA franchise. And he convinced me. That's pretty much how the whole thing happened.
The newspaper stories preceded my introduction to George Shinn himself. This guy was interested in bringing big-time sports to Charlotte. That started to pique my interest a little bit simply because we were building a brand new Coliseum out on Tyvola Road.
Harvey Gantt and I had been working on trying to get an arena downtown, and so we knew we had to have an arena, and we argued vehemently at that time to put the arena on the Fish and Oyster lot, which is where the transportation center is now. We were trying to locate it in the center city. Nevertheless, we had to build it quickly, and we ended up building it out by the airport.
And of course, he was looking at that new facility also as an asset in his pursuit of an NBA franchise. So I didn't think it was beyond the pale to suggest that Charlotte might be ready for an NBA franchise.
Honestly, I did not know where Charlotte was. We had, talked to an owner. Where is that? Is that West Virginia? Is that Charlottesville or Charlotte? No, it's North Carolina. Oh, okay.
We had to do 2 or 3 things to talk to David, and when we went up to see him, George and I, in his office in New York for the first time, the first question he asked us was, why Charlotte? Which I thought was a great job of coming to the point. And we said, it's a market you should have. It's a market you probably don't recognize because all your other markets are urban city markets, and all of those are pretty much taken one way or another.
George came in with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of belief in our community. He was not well known in the Charlotte business community as such, but he certainly became well known. I think he had the personality that caused a lot of people to want to be associated with what could be successful.
The enthusiasm that was being expressed, what Charlotte was, what their hopes were, what they could become. Remember, there was no football team there then. It was just, we would have been going into virgin territory for sports. And I was just very impressed with the enthusiasm, the presentation. And George Shinn seemed to be like the little engine that could. He could do it.
To the everlasting credit of David Stern, I don't think we would have ever gotten there if it weren't for his patience and his willingness to listen. It would have been very easy to turn these two guys from Charlotte, Carolina, wherever that was, away that day and say, you guys keep trying hard, see you later. But he didn't. He always made room for us, and he always was willing to listen and suggested to the other owners that they listen.
And I began explaining to owners what Charlotte was. And in fact, we were looking to expand by 3 teams, but Charlotte was in there like almost number 1. It was astounding to me, but that's what we thought, and it was, I thought, a very good decision by the league.
I was at home and sitting at a table in the kitchen and saw George Shinn's car drive up to the back of the house and come in the back porch and knock on the door. And as he walked up to the door, he looked like we were one of the ones that were going to be left out to me. And he said, Max, I got a call from David Stern. They've only taken 1 team, and it's us.
Well, he put us on the map. The main reason was, out of all the other cities, Miami, Orlando, and Minnesota, Minneapolis, we were picked the first one. So that told the world, you know, Charlotte, North Carolina is a place to be.
For us to end up and being picked first was pretty remarkable, but George did an unbelievable job. I remember when he went in to make his presentation, he had so much heart and what he wanted to do, but the city of Charlotte, Hugh McCall and all the leaders in town really stepped up.
Well, I think we were excited about it, and because it'd be good for Charlotte. I've always been pro-Charlotte, I'm pro-growth, and so I was excited about it from that point of view, that it would help the city.
I thought it was a real milestone. Just hearing that news said more about, well, it said a lot about George Shinn and his people who worked on that, but it said a lot about how people felt about the growth of our city. And for a mayor hearing that, that was kind of confirmation that we were on the right track to doing what we needed to do.
I mean, George had, at the time, everybody in town, you know, loved George because he was trying to do this NBA thing. So the ticker tape parade that they had in Charlotte when we were awarded the franchise was pretty huge.
As you know, what followed was a big parade, and George he could have been elected president in North Carolina after that occurred.
It was extremely exciting as a North Carolinian that was a college basketball player and a college basketball coach to think that we were finally going to be in the big time and have a professional basketball team, the first professional franchise in all of North Carolina, you know, after the ABA. So just exciting to see, you know, all the NBA stars from around the league come to our state and play games, and us have a home team to pull for.
We're now joined by Marvin Williams. And Marvin, last show, Matt and I were talking about the costumes that you had with your daughter, Ari, and that you were getting ready to go trick-or-treating. So we definitely want to recap on that. We want to hear how trick-or-treating went with her.
We had a blast. It was fun. We did it was like Alice in Wonderland theme. She was the Queen of Hearts. She actually wore a costume to the game the night before. My fiance was Alice, and I was the Mad Hatter. So we got some pretty good reviews, so it was a good time.
Now, we know you got good reviews from the players. You had mentioned that when you were walking around the neighborhood. Anybody freaking out when they're seeing this 6'9" Mad Hatter kind of walking towards them?
No, I got a lot of compliments. My fiance did a great job of putting the costume together. I was a little bit nervous. I was on the road when she told me she was going to order it, and you know, I'm a large guy, so you never know how it's going to fit when you put it on. So when I got home, I put it on, and it fit perfectly, so it was cool.
Pants didn't become shorts.
No, I had long socks, so it worked out.
Well, awesome. All right, well, since then, we've had a game. We played the Oklahoma City Thunder. I know we talked yesterday a little bit about what was worked on in order to kind of come back, fix those mistakes into tonight's game. What did you guys work on today at shoot-around?
Just our basic principles. We really hammered our basic principles. We feel like we put together good schemes, but you really have to go out there and trust your principles. We have to trust each other, and that's what we'll do. We did a good job against Oklahoma City, kind of building the lead, but we didn't do the best job keeping it. So we learned from some of those things watching film yesterday, and hopefully we come out tonight with a better effort.
What do you have to do to kind of bring these young guys in again after you have a tough loss like that to get them to really kind of focus and regroup?
I have to be honest, man. Coach and his staff, they kind of do all that, man, which is really, really cool. Something different. Obviously, as an older guy, you kind of know how the season goes. You're going to have some great wins and you're going to have some tough losses, and that's just part of it. But JB and the staff, man, you would never know if we won or lost a game by the way they come to work each and every day, and it really is fun to play for somebody like that. So I think guys are really upbeat. We had a great shoot-around just now, so hopefully we can kind of bring some of the energy tonight to the game.
You mentioned a great shoot-around, guys being upbeat. We hear that energy all the time. When we're sitting out there waiting to interview you guys, I hear it out on the court. Just kind of talk about that and how much this energy has been injected into this team this season.
It's really fun, man. You guys have asked us about that a couple times. I don't know. You guys got to pop in one day, and the shooting competitions get pretty competitive. We had the big boss out there today, so that was actually pretty fun. He kind of hopped in with us too. But they switched the teams up on us today. We were getting a few wins in a row, so they kind of changed the teams up, but our team still won, so that was good.
And you said Boss Man's here. Did he give you guys any pieces of advice since he's been here, kind of getting a chance to assess the team a couple games into the season? What has he told you guys?
I think yesterday he gave us some really good insight. He sat in with the film session with us, just kind of gave us his opinions on what he sees and ways that we can kind of improve. And he's still very patient with us. He's very encouraged by our play, but he definitely wants to see us improve and wants to see us close out games like we did like we tried to against Oklahoma City. But he's definitely encouraging to have around, man. He's the best to ever do it. So to be able to kind of call him up and ask him what he thinks or kind of pick his brain a little bit really is beneficial.
Has he had any kind of a hands-on approach since then, other than giving you guys some film advice?
No, like I said, he kind of shot around with us today, but that was it. He lets Coach do the coaching. He kind of watches, and I know Coach Clifford really appreciated that, and I know Coach JB probably does too.
I know that he lets Coach do the coaching, but when he comes into a film room and wants to give his input as well, does everybody sit up a little straighter? Make sure? Is it like the professors in town, making sure that everybody's on their best behavior?
No, I don't think so. Our film sessions are actually really cool. They're very interactive. Coach, it's not like the coach just sits there and kind of just talks. Coach JB wants to know what we were thinking in this play, so he really does get our input, and then he'll kind of correct some of the things that he sees. And MJ did the same thing. He sat there and listened to what we were thinking about during certain situations, and he gave his input, and that was it.
We know this is a different look Cleveland Cavaliers team. Obviously, LeBron no longer here. It's a completely remade team.
Not completely.
What do you guys? Well, not completely. There's a lot of pieces that are still left. That's true. So, what is the tactic when you're facing this Cavaliers squad now?
You still have to treat them the same way. Obviously LeBron is not there, but they still have some very, very good players. They're very, very battle tested. They have won at the highest level, so you really have to go out and respect them. They are playing a lot of their younger guys that are very talented as well. So we really have to come out tonight, bring the energy, really be locked in on the defensive end, and then really try to execute offensively.
All right, well, we're looking forward to seeing that tonight here at Spectrum Center, 7 o'clock tip. Make sure to tune in if you're not going to be here at Spectrum Center on Fox Sports Southeast or listen on WFNZ. Marvin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marv.
For Marvin, for Matt, I'm Eryn Pittsonberger. We'll see you guys next time.
Be here. To get your 2018 season membership, call 704 Hornets. This is Buzz City.